Hey, what's up, my horror fanatics? The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It. This movie was slated to come out in September of 2020, but of course everyone knows what happened in 2020. However, it didn't really seem like a long delay, at least to me. So this past Saturday, I went and seen The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It. And my initial thoughts are kind of meh, it was okay. But let's start this discussion. The Conjuring 3 is based on the Devil Made Me Do It case that came from the Warrens' paranormal experiences. Many people on my channel know all about David Glatzel and Ernie Johnson and the whole story surrounding the Devil Made Me Do It case. And many of my subscribers know that I don't believe nothing the Warrens said or did. And I'm one of those people who think that 98% of what the Warrens said they did is fabricated. So there's that. Of course, that's just my opinion, but I wouldn't mind hearing your opinion down in the comment section. Maybe you can convince me that they weren't money-hungry, fame-driven personalities. At least Ed Warren was, anyway. But Lorraine, she seemed kind of warm-hearted, but either way it goes, she went along with these lies. But back to the Devil Made Me Do It case. A brief backstory of the legit case. David Glatzel, a 12-year-old boy, supposedly, air quotes, supposedly possessed by demons and progressively getting worse with time. So with safety concerns growing from the family, they hired Ed and Lorraine Warren to save David Glatzel. And they even tried to conduct an exorcism. But with all the emotion and mental and physical pain that David Glatzel was going through, Ernie Johnson just couldn't take it anymore, and he intervened, and he allowed permission for the evil spirit to leave David Glatzel's body and take himself in the process. Now remember, this is all documented from the Warrens' perspective. So now with Ernie Johnson possessed, he goes through some life changes, and down the road, maybe a week or a month later, Ernie Johnson got into a verbal and physical altercation with his landlord and boss named Bono. And this altercation stemmed from a comment made about Debbie Glatzel, his girlfriend. And that's David Glatzel's sister. But anyway, personally, I just feel like Ernie Johnson was never possessed. He was just drunk. This was just two people drunk fighting each other over an argument. And an argument over a woman, to be exact. Probably Bono was flirting with her, or maybe it was the other way around. But we all know how alcohol can play a role in situations like this. And I'm going to add this in here too. David Glatzel was never possessed either. And this is just my opinion. He had a learning disorder and a mental disability. All of this has been documented. Of course, leave it to the Warrens to exploit families and take advantage of them. And the Warrens made a book and profited off little David Glatzel. I don't like that. And it frustrates me because I thought that Ernie Johnson should have been held fully responsible for his actions. But it's almost like the Warrens wanted this to happen. Like, I don't know. It seems like they accepted his behavior. They accepted a life being lost. I don't know, man. It's distasteful, for real. And I just feel like the Warrens tried to use him as a guinea pig to see how far they can get with The Devil Made Me Do It. Just imagine, anyone with a mental disability or disorder can say, hey, the devil made me do this, the devil made me do that, and get off on it. And in all reality, they don't have a mental problem. They just have an anger issue. That's just me. And the Warrens were treading on dangerous grounds, and I really don't respect that and the position they took with that situation. So enough of me ranting and talking about the backstory, the real backstory of the situation. But now let's talk about this movie. The opening scene of this movie felt like a climactic ending to a film. It legit felt like the ending, for real. David Glatzel being possessed to start the movie, and we get the exorcist coming into the house, and we get a real great shot of the exorcist, coming into the house. And it reminds me of the actual Exorcist movie, and I love that shot. But David Glatzel has become dangerous at this point. and he even stabbed his father. It was getting so bad that the exorcism wasn't even working, and possessed David Glatzel actually gave Ed Warren a heart attack. He jumped off the table during the exorcism, and he got on top of Ed Warren, and he said, "I'll stop your heart, old man." And I thought that was a good scene because, it scared the living crap out of Ed Warren. And, I thought that was a great scene because it showed that these demons can actually hurt people and cripple people. Because in the previous Conjuring universe movies, we haven't seen that. All they do is just scare the individual. That was it. Or maybe a sacrifice here and there, but it's nothing of physically harming them. Well, I kind of take that back because in previous movies, I forgot in the original Conjuring, the lady was possessed and she was all beat up and bruised up, and their dog got killed. So I kind of take that back. But either way it goes, Ed Warren had a heart attack in this movie, and Ernie Johnson couldn't take no more after that scene. So what he did, he asked the spirit to transfer into his body and leave David alone. And that's what the evil spirit did. And from there on out, that's when Ernie Johnson killed Bono because he thought it was a demon. He thought he was seeing a demon and the demon was attacking him. So Ernie Johnson just killed Bono. But from here on out in the movie, it's basically like a paranormal documentary. And it's almost like a whodunit case. And I honestly feel like this entire movie could have been a great Netflix series. But one thing I'm beginning to notice with these Conjuring movies is that they are becoming way outlandish. It's becoming like the Fast and the Furious movie and the Paranormal Activity franchise. Same formulas, same jump scares, and it's just very predictable. But I will say that in this movie, they tried to up the stakes by making the entity a legit threat. Ed Warren had a heart attack like I mentioned earlier. Ernie Johnson actually killed someone, and the actual demon woman at the end of the movie, she killed her own father. So it was a lot of demonic stuff going on and a lot of killing going on in this movie. But let's talk about some positives and some negatives, and I will start with the positives. Now, I love the callback to The Exorcist in the beginning, like I mentioned earlier. It was a very, very beautiful shot, and that shot alone almost set the tone for the entire movie. And the intensity of the movie is probably the best in the franchise in my opinion. I mean, from the beginning sequence with David Glatzel being possessed, to Ed Warren actually saving his wife from falling off a cliff, and to Ed Warren trying to kill Lorraine Warren with a sledgehammer in the climax of the movie. But of course, another positive about this movie, and it's a no-brainer, is the acting by Patrick and Vera. I mean, they have the best on-screen chemistry I've seen in a long time. They definitely carried this movie, and they carried it to the point where you almost forgot that you were watching a paranormal horror movie. And I also like that the filming location, I don't know, it felt satisfying and welcoming, if that makes sense anyway. You can tell it was shot in Georgia, a southern state, and I like that type of scenery. I don't know about y'all, but I absolutely love that. But of course, this movie is going to have its negatives. For instance, the structure of the entire movie felt kind of sloppy. It was like I was watching a day in the lives of the Warrens, and I honestly got bored in the middle of the movie. And I didn't really need to know about how Ed and Lorraine Warren met and all their love life and all that. I mean, they should have just left that out. And I don't know, it just threw me off a little bit. But one thing that really pissed me off is how the Warrens didn't get arrested for being prime suspects at every scene of this movie. I mean, for one, they made a call to the police department and said that it was going to be a crime committed before it actually happened. And of course, it was Ernie Johnson killing Bono. And two, the Warrens broke into like a morgue or a funeral home or something like that, and they tampered with dead bodies. Come on. The third thing is the old man at the end of the movie. His throat was slashed in his own home. And guess who was the only ones there during the night on the property when the police showed up? The Warrens. So they should be the suspects, right? Well, we don't get that. So, I don't know. They just had a lot of unbelievable stuff in this movie, like Eric Warren saving Lorraine Warren from a cliff with one arm after he had a heart attack. Now, what sense did that make? I mean, is Eric Warren Captain America? And with any Conjuring movies, you have the cheap scares, but they went overboard with the Bray Wyatt fat ghost in the funeral home or morgue or whatever. They just went overboard with that. And whoever thought of that should be retired. They should retire after that. But overall, this movie was definitely not the worst in the franchise, but it definitely wasn't the best. And I'm going to rewatch it to see if it'll grow on me a little bit. So what do you all think about The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It? Let me know down in the comment section. And if you love any and everything horror movie or paranormal related, make sure you check out my channel. I also have videos about Ed and Lorraine Warren exposing the truths and all of that. So if you're interested in that, make sure you check out my channel, subscribe, hit that notification button. As always, be safe. Peace.